Today we'd like to show you some of our favorite perennials that are a hit with the bees and other pollinators. From foxgloves to lavender, there's a lot to show you. We want to start here in our garden, and then we want to take you to the cemetery garden where Lars works as a landscape gardener and show you some plants that we don't have quite yet, but maybe will be on our list soon. So let's get started. We'll start right here with the foxglove. Look who's in there. We could not have cast a better friend. So these are an absolute hit.
We just love the sound when they're in there. Look at him just being busy up there.
They'll go all the way in. The bees love them. They're great in the cottage garden, and the pollinators love them. So if you're starting to make a list, put this one at the top.
And it really gives a great height to the garden. Normally we have them around the fence over there, but they really self-sow everywhere. There he goes. But it gives it's very elegant still, so we left it self-sowed here around the border, but we kind of left it because it's super cute right here. And it's just a wonderful, once you have it, you will always have it. It will self-sow everywhere. It's only a 2-year like the biennial. The first year it has the foliage, and then the second year it really comes with this tower of a flower. So these ones, the spore Valerian, we have them in pink also, but in this white one, really clouds of almost just of white flowers, and there's abundance of insects all day. They just really buzz around there. So that's really a great, also drought tolerant and self-sowing, so you have it everywhere in the garden, but we love that one. It's really nice one.
We get a lot of moths and butterflies too, so not just the bees for this one. A lot of hoverflies, all sorts of cute things.
So we just love the Ridderspore here, and this combination is just great, and the bees really love it as well. So that's really nicely in the group and the mixed color. And right next to the Torskamon here, also the bees really love going in the small flowers here as well. And that's really attracts a lot of bees.
Lupins as well, they're really great. Here's a beautiful one. We have some more. This is one of our newer ones, but if you look, let me show you. For example, if I'm a bee, if this finger where I bite my fingernails, if I land on, look, boop, then it opens. Isn't that crazy? So the little bee would land right there, and then it would open. How incredible.
So here's the really beautiful Stjerneskerm. There's Astrantia here, also buzzing with different kind of insects here. And it's really beautiful. I love the foliage too. We have them in whitish and over to the reddish color. And they are just really nice. And they flower for a very long time. Self-sows everywhere, but then you can easily move it around in other places in the garden. And it's just a really stunning perennial.
Here's one for all those bees and pollinators that like to fly high.
Wow.
This plant is 2 meters tall.
And it's called Kæmpeskældhoved, and it's really almost mesmerizing how to see how there's so many insects in this one, and it's just wavy. We staked it here because it's quietly new. We planted it, but it's a really hardy perennial, and it has these really big flower buds here. Even when it's, if I can show you here, even before it flowers and after when it's finished flowering, it's really pretty. And you can collect seeds of it. And that bee is just...
This bee is living his life. So if you have bees that do not want to be near the ground, this one's for you.
So here's Salvia. Really nice, and also attract so many different kinds of insects here. Flowers for a very long time and just has this stunning purple color. What we haven't done here yet, but it's really because it gets quite tall, so it's a good idea to have a little staking because they grow pretty tall and can fall out. But here along the border, it's totally okay that they kind of fall out, but they flower a very long time. And then when they finish flowering, we cut it down, the finished flower head, and it will come again. And it's also great, you can collect seeds of it, so you will have it in different areas in your garden.
And even on this windy day, my goodness, if only you could hear the bees in here. I was trying to catch one, but not quite Spielberg.
This blåhat really attracts a lot of insects, even different ones sitting around flying. But this is also native to Denmark, so you would see it out around in the different meadows, and they flower for a very long time, and all the different insects really love it, rich in nectar for them, and it keeps flowering. You can also deadhead the ones that's finished, and even if I can find one, like even when they finish flowering, they're also really pretty here. This is the seed pods
Little
here.
fuzzy little balls.
And here's one before they flower, it's also really nice. Let me see here, see.
Well, now you won't get a flower off that one.
No, but there's abundance here, there's so many. So, and it's also great at self-sowing, so you'll have it everywhere, but it's really in a big group here, so because it also grows pretty tall, so it can also fall a little bit over, but if you have it in a big group, you can see how it just really waves even in this kind of windy day. But they are really, the bees over here are just really nice.
Ah,
Did you see it? It's coming over
yep,
there?
it's coming
You
closer.
can see how it's... So here we have the white variety of Jakobstie, and I just love the foliage, but also the flower here. We also have them in blue, but it's really long stem, and as you can see, the bees are just all over them. And they flower for such a long time. You can easily grow them from seeds, and they also self-sow, but they have a great stem, so even on this windy, the bees say, even on this windy day, they don't fall over. They just really look like puffy clouds, and they are just really beautiful.
They look like puffy clouds.
Right, that's a new term. Look at the bees there.
There you go, Lars. Look at these puffy clouds. It's like a PBS special.
Right. Oh.
Let me see if I can get him. And right next to that is a bee's, I almost said the bee's
Magnet.
knees. I'm just as corny as you are, Lars. Lavender. Look at this. This variety is a bit taller than the kind we have at home. We have Thumbelina, which is really low.
There was a bee.
Yeah, I see it. But lavender, if you're looking for something, an easy, low maintenance plant
And if you film this
to
way
get
over
those
here,
pollinators in,
see
it
how
would be
they,
lavender.
you know, we can always, it's a great idea to, if they look a little bit leggy, but see how they, just along the border here, they just fall over, but you can really also cut them to get a little bit more compact, bushier plant. But that's really a great also plant.
Bee magnet.
Yes.
If only you could hear it. The bees are loving these two plants side by side.
And that is like a very dark purple, a stouter Salvia, and has flowered. It's almost finished flowering actually, so we're gonna trim it back, and then we'll have another small flowering. But look at all the bees, all a bunch of bumblebees over there, and they just love it. And it's a nice contrast to this little bit lower Nepeta, the catwort here, and also bees here. Really all day the bees are just everywhere in these ones. So that's really two great combinations next to each other, because they both attract a lot of pollinators.
And you'll notice here in the cemetery garden, it is like a public park. We've mentioned that before, but they use a lot of these colors, a lot of purples, really, really soothing.
And as you can see, we plant them compared to ours at home in a much larger area. At home we would have just one plant, that because one plant is big, but here we have them in a much larger group, so it also gives a different kind of look, very calm actually.
Exactly, and it's a great way to get even more pollinators in your garden. I wish I could put my microphone on these little guys. We talked about a plant that was great for those pollinators that fly high. Well, here's one for the ones that like to be near the ground.
Super low. The Krypende Timian, very low, just a blanket of purple flower, and really, really great for all those bees. Every day there's just a bunch of them, like almost hundreds of them during the day.
And it's easier for them here in this wind to be down low compared to the taller plants.
They have to do a bit more work on the tall ones.
Ooh, they got to hold on. So that's also a great idea. If you really want pollinators, make sure you've got those different heights if you live somewhere on the coast like we do.
And if you come over here, right next to that one is also a low-growing one. That's great to cover some ground. It's the Pleated Twitan. Both the foliage, but also the flower here, pinkish, almost like a baby pink. But look at that bee there just being so busy over here. Can you see it? There he is. Or she. Where is he? I'm disturbing. There he is.
Beautiful.
They are there.
And
And those are really great, those two.
And it also makes a great ground cover. So these two are planted side by side, with grass in the middle. Really nice combination here.
So here we have another really purple perennial. It's called Knautia. Really pretty, long stems, just almost a pipe just full of these beautiful purple ones. We also have it in white, which is also really pretty. But this one attracts a lot of insects and it will come back. It's also great at getting more by small plants under the ground here, so it has small roots that it spreads. You can also do it by seeds, but this one is really great for all these different insects coming.
So speaking of in white, there it is. The bees are also busy in that one. Not all pollinators have to look like bumblebees. This plant is really popular with different kinds of flies. We found some ladybugs in here. There are some bees, but it's a lot more popular with other types of insects.
And it's actually Foxglove, really stunning, just started to flower, to bloom now. And because it's a really tall perennial, and the foliage actually is also so pretty, but because it's so tall, we actually, down here every year we put like a fence around. It's like 10 centimeters times 10 centimeters. And then as soon as it grows a little bit up around 20 centimeters from the ground every year, we stake it with this netting here and posts, and then it just grows up to it, because if you don't, it has a big tendency to fall over and it just doesn't look very pretty. So it's just really hidden, and it's very easy and cheap way to stake a big area, because we have a big area of this really pretty Foxglove, and it's stunning, I think. So here's a different variety of the Stouter Salvia. It's like a purple and a white combination. Really also attracts a lot of definitely insects, but also like bumblebees, and they really get a lot of nectar out of these this variety, because it's visited throughout the whole day. And they have, in general, Stouter Salvia, they have a very long flowering time. So if you want pollinators in your garden, then go and buy or sow Stouter Salvia from seeds. So this geranium Roseanne really spreads really quickly throughout a season, and it's also attracts a lot of pollinators. It comes in different colors. There's also different hybrids, like a pink one we just have in Denmark here. That's also really nice, but this one covers a lot of ground. So that's a big plus, but of course also that you have a lot of different pollinators in the garden.
Here's a plant that is made for the bravest of all pollinators. Look how sharp and prickly this is, the sea holly.
It's so pretty. It is really, like Alan says, it's so hard to work with, because as soon as they come up these stems, it starts, like you can see here, they are just green, not so spiky, but as soon as they start to grow a little bit more in color, they are super spiky. But look, the bees, they don't care. Really beautiful. Also in bouquets, you can dry them, but it's a very spiky affair when you work with them, but really stunning, amazing blue color, in contrast to the Flumus over here, this yellow, where there's also really often a lot of insects in. That's also a great plant, and what a great combinations these two are next to each other.
Exactly, one really soft, look at those, almost like little yellow pillows, and then you have, I don't know, the torture chamber. But this bee, good for you, little buddy, good for you.
So here we have the Danish national flower, the marguerite here, also great for pollinators and other kind of insects that's crawling around it. Oh no! And these are in this flower bed. We have a lot of it is in totally full sun, and they are really thriving here. These flower beds are around like four seasons now, so they are really established. We don't walk around and water them all the time, because once you have a flower bed, it's great if you have a period of very dry weather. Give it once a week, maybe some hard watering instead of every second day, because plants are very clever. If you have the roots and you water a little bit every day, the roots will just stay up at the surface. If you give a really great, a lot of rain on one day, then they will more have a tendency to grow down and search for water. So you can go on holiday at ease without thinking about worrying, will my perennials die? And a great thing about the perennials, if they do wither back, they will always come back the next year again.
Exactly. This was about pollinators, but there you go, some watering.
Little tip.
Some watering
Side
advice.
tips. So here's a different kind of geranium, also really attracts throughout the day, a very low growing one, but attracts a lot of insects. We have them here in half shade and also in full shade. They really thrive. And this one spreads with the underground roots, so you will have a big blanket very quickly and attract a lot of different insects. So here we have Allenrod, and that really attracts a bunch of different insects as well. We have some areas here where it's in full sun. We have them also in half shade, and it really thrives and spreads really easily. You can break it off a rosette and then plant it somewhere else, and it will root, and you have a more of this, and it flowers for such a long time.
And look at this, even when it finishes flowering, it's going to be this great blanket of foliage. Super nice. So there you have it, some of our absolute favorite perennials if you're looking to get more pollinators in your garden. This isn't everything, there's so many more. There's blanket flower, there's just a ton of stuff that the pollinators go crazy for, but these are some of the ones that, first, that we could capture bees actually hanging out in. We thought that would be really important, but there's a whole bunch more. Let us know what your favorites are, especially if you're working with a cottage garden. And until then, we thank you for watching.
Thank you, bye.